Hello and welcome back to the railway. Today we have another locomotive from the late trying Hornby period. She only made a brief appearance in the catalogue in 1969. She's a Continental style locomotive, so I thought I'd run her with some primary wagons, which I think have a sort of Continental feel about them. These wagons and the foregoing wagon which I finished the rake off with were available in the trying railways period. We'll just follow her for a moment, and we have a number of interesting shots from the minicam here. The first one from behind the foregoing wagon, and then secondly from in front of the 262 Continental tank engine coming past the station. And around the third radius curve she comes, all the way up the incline, that maghesion really helping pull those wagons all the way up, and we'll bring her to a stop. This is the best place on the layout to stop and look at things, as we have no masts or wires or piers in the way, so we can get a real detailed look at this point. Here she is, on the bottom left hand corner of page 11 of the 1969 catalogue. She shares this page with a number of fine models. Importantly, R.59, the 262 tank locomotive, is here as well. Both these models share the same chassis, and wheels and connection rods, although in the picture it does suggest that the connection rods might be red on this Continental model. However, I don't think that was ever the case. Whilst this model only appeared in the 1969 catalogue, it was a reworked version of a much earlier model. If we look back to the 1963 catalogue, we can see there's a very similar locomotive here on page 2021. This also had the catalogue number of R653. Along with the foregoing wagon, R262, these two models were developed for production in Trying's new Calais factory. In the end, neither of these models were produced in the Calais factory. At about this time, Trying had acquired Hornby Meccano Limited. With this came an established range of European models under the name of Hornby ACHO, so there was no longer any need for Trying to continue developing new models for the European market. As a result, both of these models found their way to the British catalogue in 1963. They remained in the catalogue till 1965, when both models were dropped from the range. And back to the 1969 model. It has wire handrails fitted along the sides here, and it has these really excellent orange bands around the boiler. And if you note, it has two domes. The earlier model we were just having a look at just has the single dome. And looking from the front here, we've got a nice hook moulded into the buffer beam, plenty of rivets, we've got metal buffers, the standard decoupling, and we've got nice detail across the smoke box door here. This item, I'm not sure what it is, but I think it's connected to these pipes which run at an unusual angle across the top of the boiler here. Somebody in the past seems to have varnished parts of this model and not others. And there's some paint loss along here, not too bad. We can see here this valve gear really is taken straight from the R59. Plenty of rivets along the side of this tank. You've got the filler cap on the top of the tank here, and these lovely painted red wheels. Moving up towards the cab, we have another filler cap on the tank, and the same theme as the front. We've got that red line along the edge of the footplate there. Plenty of detail on the cab sides, handrails here and down both sides of the door. This plate on the earlier model we looked at in the catalogue a short time ago had SNCF on it. This model, it's been blanked out. Because of the red wheels, I think they were trying to give the effect of a German style locomotive. Moving on round to the back of the locomotive here, we've got plenty of riveting down the side of the coal bunker, and the coal is definitely a level load. These items look like filler caps. I don't know whether there's an extra water tank here. On the back of the bunker, it looks like grab handles and footholds here to climb up the back of the bunker. We've got the hook moulded into the buffer beam and metal buffers. Around here on the top, we've got a hatch in the top of the cab roof. I am not quite sure what this plate is. We've got three unglazed windows across the back there. I think the detail across the top of the boiler here is really excellent. I think we ought to uncoupler and have a look underneath now. We'll just get the uncoupler in there. We'll just pull her out and we'll lift her off. And here we have the underside. You can see these wheels have done plenty of miles on the track. If we turn it over a little, you can see the brass wipers here on the collection plate. I pick up the current from this wheel and it's returned through this wheel. I'll just turn it around. So on this side where we have the collection plate, These are the insulated wheels. These wheels are painted red. Ordinarily you'd be able to see a black ring around here which insulates the wheel from the axle. So we'll just turn it back over like that, and we'll take it out of the polystyrene here, and we'll turn it over. We'll just take the top off, and then we'll have a look at the smoking unit inside this. Part of it is missing, and I do have a replacement. However, I have decided not to fit it. There we go. So there we have the motor. Feel the magnet sticking to the screwdriver there. Now this is the smoke unit. Now the wheel's missing, and the top of it, and the smoking fuse inside. So this is a replacement. Now I'm just going to show you this part of the replacement. And that would have gone on there. So the smoke fluid would have been put down the chimney and into that hole, and it runs back into the unit. And then when current's applied, it heats up and the smoke comes out of here. It's a good theory, but you have to run the thing so quick, it really isn't practical. Here's an 060 chassis I've got wired up with a smoke unit on. Smoke unit is driven directly from the worm gear on the motor. It pushes this, which pushes air through the unit and smoke out of this hole here. Smoke oil will be put through this hole also, through the chimney in the locomotive. Quite messy, and that's how all the decals come off the locomotives with the smoke oil. So we'll get some power connected and see if we can get any smoke out of her. It's got a very extra long piece of wire on there, but that'll be useful for wiring into the locomotive when that she's finally going to go in. So we'll lift that up, and then we'll get a bit of power on. And that's full power on the controller now. And as it warms up, we should be able to get some smoke out of there. You can just see the smoke beginning to come out now. So that demonstration wasn't working quite as I thought it would, so I've just reshot it in a slightly different way. Here we can definitely see the smoke coming out of the unit. And when I take the top off, you can still see the smoking fuse, and it just evaporates the oil and turns it into smoke. I think that's probably time to get back to the track. And we'll just put her back on the track and get her coupled up to the wagons. Then we'll give her a little bit of power and we'll get her running again. Away she goes. This rake of wagons is very noisy, and it comes from the Trying Railways period, from the primary series. The open truck R.653S and the closed van R.653S, they're just cheap plastic moulds and they make a great echoey noise. The fourgon wagon, which is the French brake wagon, R.262, was available between 1963 and 1965. And coming up to points number 8. And we'll bring her across onto the inside line. It's looking good with all those wheels coming through there. And then we'll close the points behind her, past the signal box, and up past these tank wagons. They could be Continental, couldn't they? Around past the rubber models, back past the station, and over the double crossover onto the passing loop. Making good progress across there, and then we'll close the points behind her. Now she's safely on the passing loop. We could hold her here, but we're going to continue on through points number 4 and back onto the outside line. And we'll close points number 4 behind her, and around up past the station and over these very bumpy diamond crossings, and really are of approved design. And she rolls up into the third radius curve, and then up the incline, and we're going to bring her to a gentle stop up here, and then we'll be able to have a closer look at these wagons. Here's R218, the closed van, and just look at all this detail that's been moulded into the sides of these. It's quite extensive. It's just a one-piece mould with a separately fitted roof, and the axles are just through these little spigots down here. And moving on to R217, the open truck, we can see it's just a single piece moulding again, and the wheels have been attached in the same way, single metal axle through either end, sleeved wheels. It has a standard decoupler in here, moulded on buffers, and I think they have managed to get quite a lot of detail in for such a basic wagon. I think we'll take her off and just have a look underneath. So we'll just get the uncoupler in here. We'll get her off, it's a little fiddly. And then we'll turn her over and we can have a look just how basic this really is. There we go. And here we can see just how basic this is. The decouplers have just been screwed in with a flathead screw, and there's the sleeved axles. You can see the brake between the two. Very, very basic, and here's the name Triang R217, made in England, although I have managed to get that upside down. Well, I think we'll turn her over and get her back on the track. Back on she goes. Just get her coupled back up. And then we'll move this rake along and we'll have a look at the foregun wagon. And here we have the foregun wagon. It has these wonderful red lights moulded into the back here. Some quite fine printing on the side. You can see it says SNCF here, so this model is definitely aimed at the French market. And a great lookout for the guard at the top here. And down each of these struts we've got riveting, really is quite nice. And the underframe's quite elaborate too. Definitely not from the primary range, this one, but a very unusual model. It never did sell very well. I think it's time just to let this lot have a run round the layout and we'll just sit and watch. So there we have it, a German-style locomotive and what may or may not be Continental wagons from the primary series, and a French-style brake wagon. Quite an unusual mix. I'll leave you this week with the only packaging I have from this lot, and next week I think we'll have a look at something from the mid-1960s. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye now.